The last unlimited hydroplane race in Canada was in the era of open cockpits, airplane engine power, and make love, not war. That was nearly 30 years ago. Today, it's F-16 canopies and turbine engines. Aerodynamic hulls have doubled the speeds. And on the water, each heat is a battle. Unlimited hydroplanes on the cold blue water of Lake Okanagan in British Columbia, next. Amid much ceremony here in Kelowna, BC, the 8th of 10 stops on Ralph's Unlimited Hydro Tour by Las Vegas, the Molson Thunderfest Jackhammer Liquid Oval. Welcome to the Great White North, where the temperature today should be about 90 degrees. This is Kelowna, BC, in the heart of beautiful British Columbia, where the residents have welcomed the Thunderboats back with open arms, huge crowds, and glorious blue Canadian skies. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Montgomery. The race course behind me is a 2-mile oval patterned very much after the course the drivers were on last week in Seattle. But naturally, there are some differences. One driver who will not be in his boat today is Nate Brown. His team did not make the trip across the border, so we're going to put him to work on our broadcast team and let Nate start by giving us the driver's perspective on this brand new racetrack.
No drivers here have competed on this race course in Kelowna before, and that creates a lot of uncertainty. For example, the boats tied up along that log boom back there, they may be beautiful, but they create a lot of huge waves. And the race course itself is not in line with the shoreline, so the drivers won't be able to use the shoreline to keep their bearings. And if the wind comes up, as it did in qualifying, it'll create a lot of rough water down that backstretch. So more on that, here's Jim Hendrick.
Well, Nate, rough water and all, the Smokin' Joe is the top qualifier by 4 miles an hour over the Pico American Dream. And these two boats have battled for the top rung of the ladder all year long. A little more interesting story, though, it's a little farther down the ladder, and that's the computers and applications. They've made a lot of changes to improve their speed.
We've made refinements in the boat ride, which have brought us from the 10th fastest qualifier to the 5th fastest qualifier. We've deepened the air traps, we've deepened the sponses, we've moved weight, we refined propellers, and we made the changes in our front canard wing, and all of a sudden we're one of the fast guys, and we're happy about it.
Just to tick off the pace of the speed set by the computers and applications is the U2 Jackhammer boat. They have their strategy set for this race.
Our strategy was to qualify the boat and then set the boat up for a 2-mile track and get the Jackhammer in the final heat today.
An interesting point is that the computers and applications and the U2 Jackhammer will be side by side in Heat 1B.
The Budweiser O'Doul's national high points coming into the Kelowna race show the Pico American Dream with a 1,600-point lead over the top qualifier here, Smokin' Joe's. Mark Tate scheduled to be on the inside in lane 1 in Heat 1A, but Jim, there is a problem in that pit.
Problem is no power from the starter to the engine. You can see Jim Lucero scrambling with his crew. Now, they're on the white flag lap right now. They have a specified amount of time to make it into the field and up with the rest of the group. Does not look like they're going to make it. Mark Tate was scheduled for lane 1. Mike Hansen will be in lane 2 in DeWalt Tools. Scotty Pierce at Chaplin's Bellevue Mazda, lane 3. Lane 4, Mitch Evans in Chelan's Mill Bay Casino. Mark Webber in Miss Exide on the outside. Still, the Smokin' Joe's is not starting, and that's going to cost him almost 400 sure points, Steve.
A dejected Smokin' Joe's crew will watch the start of Heat 1A. Mike Hansen, the beneficiary of all that in the yellow boat, he'll have the inside. Right beside him, Scott Pierce in the Chaplin's Bellevue Mazda, and we are underway, racing into the first turn of Heat 1A. Hansen on the inside with the advantage. On the outside, the red boat is Mitch Evans in the Spirit of Lake Chelan. And he settles into third place with piston power up the back straightaway. Good race for first place now as Scott Pierce challenges Mike Hansen. The two boats on the back straightaway at about 180 to 185 miles per hour as they go into the second turn for the first time.
The straightaway speeds can get close to 200 miles an hour and sometimes in long shoots over 200 miles an hour, but it's the average that we report to you as they have to slow down for the turns in turn 1 and 2.
Our Labatt's eye in the sky showing a good race developing back here for third place. On your right, that is Mitch Evans in the Chelan's Mill Bay Casino, and rookie Mark Webber coming up beside him in Miss Exide.
Yesterday's power, the piston packer. Today's power, the turbine, as the DeWalt Tools still in lead. Let's go down to Nate Brown for an update on the Smokin' Joe's situation.
Jim, a tough break, a point situation, another 400 down. Any ideas what went wrong?
Motor wouldn't start. Right now, we don't know. Until we actually get a chance to get into the engine, it's almost impossible to tell. That we've had no trouble starting for the last 5 years. I don't think we've ever had a time when the motor didn't start even on a practice run. And so we ran this motor this morning, fired it up twice, it fired just fine. What the problem is right now, I don't know.
And the big advantage gained by the Smokin' Joe's team by being at the top of the qualifying ladder has now gone completely away. That will have a dramatic effect on the outcome of today's race.
However, the second appearance in heat number 2, he'll get the inside lane because of the inversion rule as we look at our second place boat. And back to our first place boat with less than a lap to go, 135 mile an hour on the Zodiac lap speed.
One turn remaining now for Mike Hansen as we look at that good race for third and fourth. The leader in that now is Mark Webber in the X side. Mitch Evans in the Mill Bay Casino has the inside but is running fourth as the checkered flag will fly for Mike Hansen out of Madison, Indiana, the community-owned DeWalt Tools, the winner of Heat 1A.
Scotty Pierce in Chaplin's Bellevue Mazda finishes second here in Heat 1A.
And a drag race, the last 1,000 feet for third and fourth place. That's Mitch Evans in the Mill Bay Casino. But here comes Mark Webber in the Miss X side on the outside. And at the finish line, it's Evans on the inside holding on to third place.
And as we look at our Fruit of the Loom scoreboard, DeWalt Tools wins at 400 points. Chaplin Subaru Mill Bay Casino. This X side, and of course, the Smokin' Joe's did not start.
Problems in the Smokin' Joe's pit. The beneficiary, Mike Hansen. The winner of Heat 1A, Nate Brown, is with him.
Good job, bro. Hey, Mike. Mike, little misfortune on Smokin' Joe. You had a pretty convincing win.
That was a big break not having Smokin' Joe out there on the inside of us. Scotty ran us pretty hard. It's lumpy out there. We got the thing stood up down there at the start somehow. I stood on it and did a wheelie. But no, it was a good win for us. We needed the 400 points. Hey, hopefully we'll have a good day all day.
ESPN Unlimited Hydroplane coverage from the Molson Thunderfest Jackhammer Liquid Oval is sponsored by Las Vegas, open 24 hours. And by Ralph's, where you find low prices and double coupons every day. More from Canada in a minute. Welcome back to beautiful British Columbia. The boat's now on the water for the running of Heat 1B.
And it'll be Dave Philwalk of Pico's American Dream in lane 1. Mark Evans in the Miss Budweiser right beside him in lane 2. Steve David in lane 3 in the Jackhammer. Mike Jones the next side 2 in lane 4. On the outside, it'll be Ken Muscatel in the Allied Computers and Applications.
Dave Philwalk in the Pico American Dream, winner of 5 of 7 events in '96, finds himself atop the national high point standing.
The other guys are throwing knives and spears and axes and rule changes and everything they can think of, but you know, we're going to try to just push that Pico boat out front one more time, you know, and push all that stuff aside. But overall, we're just having a good time, and you know, when you get on top, you just got to enjoy it.
And the green flag about to fly. Referee Mike Noonan likes the shape of the field, and the speed is on the inside. You see the blue boat. That is Philwalk, and he'll be challenged by Mark Evans and Miss Budweiser, making a great start in lane 2.
As we look inside the Jackhammer, driven by Steve David, and the boat on the left is the Ken Muscatel Computers and Applications. And he's riding pretty close to the Budweiser Rooster Tail as they come around that turn, taking on a lot of water.
Super Dave Philwalk in control now as the boats come out of the first turn, head up the back straightaway. Miss Budweiser is right on his hip in that rooster tail. And you see the rough ride as he goes across those rollers from the log boom. Dave's philosophy is when it gets rough, fly across the top. And now you see Mark Evans swinging wide and Miss Budweiser and giving up just a little bit of ground to Dave Philwalk. That's our race for first and second. Less than a rooster tail separating those two boats as they come down to complete lap 1 of Heat 1B. Great shot from our Labatt Blue Eye in the Sky as you see Philwalk power into the north turn for the second time. Still being pursued by Evans.
Of course, he's won, as you said earlier, 5 out of 7 races, trying to make it 6 out of 8. And this boat, the Miss Budweiser in second place, has a disadvantage. As you look from our Labatt Eye in the Sky, you can see the boat on the inside, on the left. Whoop, Ken Muscatel just missed the buoy in Computers and Applications, and he's pulling into the infield, so that'll put him pretty much out of this race. On this course, Steve, which is a short 2-mile course. The inside track always has the advantage as we look at the third-place jackhammer through the eyes of Steve David coming down the straightaway trying to catch this boat. Our Zodiac lap speed on the Pico American Dream, 138 mile an hour.
And you saw Dave Villwalk flying fast and loose. That's the way the drivers like to handle these 6,200-pound boats. And now you see the leader overtaking the fourth-place boat and doing some lapping here, while Mark Evans continues to give pursuit in the red Miss Budweiser. Dave Villwalk and the Pico American Dream, our leader in Heat 1B.
Remember, all of these heats are 3-lappers with the exception of the finale. That will be 5 laps around this 2-mile course.
About a 2 rooster tail lead now opened up by our leader. And the checkered flag flies for Dave Villwalk, having a tremendous season in Fred Leland's Pico American Dream, the winner of Heat 1B. Second place will go to Mark Evans in Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser.
Third place goes to the Jackhammer. This boat was built in 1993. It's a 2-wing hull design built by the famous boat builder Ron Jones. The computers and applications did get restarted to finish 5th. Here's our Fruit of the Loom scoreboard, the way they finished in Heat 1B and the cumulative points.
Mark Evans bringing Miss Budweiser back to his team's dock. Meanwhile, Steve David has already parked the Jackhammer. He's with Nate Brown.
Well, it looked like the computers and application boat missed that buoy just at the right time.
Well, he was giving me a great race just at the start. I guess it was a little rough, and it kind of blew out into me a few times. But Ken's doing a great job driving that. It's a handful because that's our old boat. But we knew in competition we could get him. Now the key is to get the red boat and the Camel and Pico, and that's what we're working towards in this final.
Will the Smokin' Joes be ready for the running of Heat 2? We'll find out when we return to British Columbia. Welcome back to Lake Okanagan in Kelowna, British Columbia. You're watching Ken Muscatel as he heads out for Heat 2A. He'll have only one of his uprights. Meanwhile, Smokin' Joe got a good draw there in 2B. A little more time to check that boat over. Scott Pierce pulling out to join the action in Heat 2A. A lot of driving gear has changed in 30 years, and that is the thrust of today's Rancho Suspension Performance Corner. Mark, first of all, a lot of your gear is common to racing on land and water.
Yeah, it is. You know, all forms of racing, they wear a helmet. Most guys wear a tether strap off their helmet. They wear a Nomex fireproof suit. They wear Nomex shoes with a very thin sole to help the driver feel the pedals. We also have Nomex gloves with leather inserts to get a better feel for the steering wheel. A lot of drivers wear a neck brace, as I do myself. Some of the things that are unique, maybe forms of boat racing, is we wear an air mask that mounts up to the front of the helmet by these little tethers here. At that point, we can communicate through this mask with our crew with this microphone that's on the inside. Then also, we have these little speakers into molded earpieces that go into our ears, and we can actually hear and communicate with 2 spotters or people on the beach.
Are you breathing bottled air all the time you're in the boat then?
When I get strapped into the boat and they hook my mask up, I'm breathing the air until I return back to the dock.
And speaking of being strapped in, you wear a little extra padding, partly because of the 5-point harness.
Yes, I like to wear this little 1-inch piece of foam inside my chest, and it does 2 things. It gives me some buoyancy if I'm in the water, and the secondly thing is it allows the belts to compress a little bit, and I actually get strapped into the boat a lot tighter.
Here's the lineup for Heat 2A. Ken Muscatel, computers and applications in lane 1. Jackhammer, lane 2 with Steve David. Scotty Pierce and Chaplin's Bellevue Mazda in lane 3. The Miss Budweiser, Mark Evans, lane 4. On the outside, Pico American Dream with Dave Villwalk.
We mentioned that none of these drivers have raced before here on Lake Okanagan, but for Scott Pierce, it's not his first trip.
My father, Laird Pierce, ran here in 1967 with the first Barclays Overing Miss, and I was a 12-year-old kid, and I dreamed of being a driver of one of these, but all I did is get in their way. I'd try to hand them a tool, and they'd smack me up alongside the head and get out of here, kid. And they're still doing that to me. I can't figure it out.
And the field is inverted for the second heat. The winners the first time out go to the outside. You see Dave Villwalk way out in lane 5 in the blue Pico American Dream. Right next to him is Mark Evans, who finished second first time out on the Budweiser, and he has a bit of an advantage over Villwalk now as they head up the back straightaway. Way on the inside, Dr. Ken Muscatel in the white boat. Now look at the lead for Miss Budweiser and Mark Evans. A great boat race with Dave Villwalk and the Pico American Dream. Those two side by side. The drivers telling us that in the straightaways here in Kelowna, they saw speeds in the high 180s during qualifying.
Now let me tell you, I've said this before, the boat on the inside has the advantage, and watch as they made that turn. Budweiser, the shorter way around, kept Pico on the outside. And I think that's the way it's going to go, because you can't pass to the outside. As we look at the Zodiac speed, 137 for Miss Budweiser.
That is a good competition lap for Mark Evans, who has it under control here as we go on board with Steve David running in third place. You see the Rooster Tails off to his right as he is on the inside now. The speed is still to the outside, and that is the leader, Miss Budweiser, just to his right. Dave Villwalk way outside, trying to make up ground in the Pico American Dream. And you see Steve David in the yellow and black boat running on the buoy line. Good race now for second place between Dave Villwalk on your left and Steve David on your right. Mark Evans, our leader, in Miss Budweiser. That is one of the boats we just mentioned, racing for second and third, as Miss Budweiser, who has not won an event in 1996, may be on his way to victory here in Heat 1A.
Jackhammer owner Jim Harvey on the left, and there's Bernie Little watching his Miss Budweiser, who's in the lead. And our Zodiac lap speed, the fastest lap of the day in competition, 143 miles an hour.
Dave Villwalk continuing to run in second place, and the Pico American Dream still way on the outside. On the inside, Steve David has to keep that boat right between the buoy line and the rooster tail of Miss Budweiser on his right.
30 feet in length, 6,000 pounds pounding through the water, and the last lap, and we're looking at our second place boat, the Pico American Dream, trying to catch the Bud.
And the posters around town talked about the Thunderboats traveling at speeds near 300, and of course they meant kilometers per hour, as we are in Canada. Mark Evans on his way to the checkered flag. He has a quarter of a lap to go. In Miss Budweiser, he'll pick up 400 very valuable points here in the running of Heat 2A.
Good reaction from Budweiser owner Bernie Little, and of course as the third place boat comes across, that is Steve David, and his owner looking on was hoping he'd move up a notch to second place. Fourth place goes to Scotty Pierce in the Chaplin Subaru, as we look at a Fruit of the Loom scoreboard with the final results and the total points earned on the day in the right column.
Miss Budweiser returning to the pit area with a victory. Mark Evans coming out of the cockpit after beating his former teammate, Dave Villwalk. Nate Brown is with him.
All right, Joe.
Mark, it looked real good out there. You had it running real strong.
Yeah, the team did a great job with all the changes we've been doing lately, and it just felt really good. The boat ride's just great, and you get inside that Pico boat, and you can do a job on them, that's for sure.
Mark Tate, no points on the day so far. He'll try once again to get the turbine to fire in the Smokin' Joes when we come back for the running of Heat 2B. Welcome back to the Molson Thunderfest Jackhammer Liquid Oval in Kelowna, British Columbia. The boats on the water for Heat 2B. Smokin' Joes has answered the call.
And Smokin' Joes will take lane number 1 with Mark Tate driving. Chelanskill Bay Casino with Mitch Evans as lane 2. In the middle of the pack, Mike Hansen in lane 3 and DeWalt Jules. The Exide twins, Miss Exide 1 and 2, with Mark Webber and Mike Jones driving, have chosen the outside lanes.
And the Smokin' Joe's team replaced more than the motor. Nate talked to Jim Lucero about all the activity in the yellow and purple pit moments before the heat.
Well, we decided to make a little change on the boat. We've had a little bit of a problem in some of our boat handling, and we thought maybe we could improve it here. We figured since we drew the heat that we did, this is a good chance to experiment since we lost out on Heat 1, and we really need to find out where the boat is.
Get that motor problem fixed okay?
Well, we threw a different engine in. The one that we pulled out, I think, might have had an airlock in it, which sometimes makes them extremely difficult to start. The engine that's in right now has been a real reliable player, and it fired fine on the trailer.
Actually, we found out that they've replaced the skid fin on the left side to a smaller skid fin for some reason. Now, there's a problem with the X side. They have pulled the boat up about 4 foot out of the water. Looks like it was taking on water. The driver, Mark Webber, is still in the boat. That makes Mike Jones in the X-Side 2 on the outside as the pace boat. And it's about 20 seconds to the green flag. He's got to get that boat in and out, and when he does, he's going to be about 3/4 of a lap behind the rest of the field. They're quickly trying to get this boat in as they come down now, Steve, for the green flag.
Mark Tate in the camel-powered Smokin' Joe's should have things all his way. He goes to the inside in a heat where he would normally be on the outside, but he failed to score points in the first heat. Right beside him, Mitch Evans in the piston-powered Mill Bay Casino. You see a good start by Mike Hansen in the DeWalt Tools, and he'll run up right beside the Smokin' Joe's as they thunder into the first turn for the first time. Our Labatt's eye in the sky giving us a great view as Mitch Evans comes up between boats, and our leader up the back straightaway is Mark Tate. Now the Smokin' Joe's looking healthy as it did in qualifying when it was our fastest boat.
Not too far back is the DeWalt Tools, and of course Mike Hansen has 400 points on the day so far by winning his section of Heat 1. This is the first bit of action now after failing to start in the first heat for Smokin' Joe's, and he needs these 400 points if he's to make the final.
And realistically, Mark Tate should be able to cruise to 400 points right here. He has that very fast boat on the inside.
Our Zodiac lap speed, lap number 1, 140 mile an hour for Mark Tate from Michigan.
Mike Hansen having a great day so far in the community-owned DeWalt Tools boat out of Madison, Indiana, running in second place. As our leader is up the back straightaway for the second time, he is halfway through this 3-lap heat.
Smokin' Joe's, of course, in the past has been known as the Winston Eagle. They've won the Gold Cup with this haul in 1991 and 1994. DeWalt Tools 5 miles an hour slower than the leader Smokin' Joe's here on lap number 2.
And Mark Webber has the Miss Exide now up and running. We get a word from Bob Lewis on the problem they had to solve.
Well, it looked like a bit of a scramble there at the last minute. What happened?
Oh, it's the classics. We forgot to put a plug in the bottom of the boat, and it's kind of not the driver's fault. It's the crew screw up this time. Hope we can do it and make it through the heat and not hurt anything.
So the plug back in the bottom of Miss Exide, and Mark Webber running in 5th place now. He will gain points in the heat as we go back to our Labatt's eye in the sky and get an overhead view of the rookie. He is into the north turn, leaving plenty of room for the faster boats coming up on the inside.
Less than a lap to go for the Smokin' Joe's as we look at our second place boat, DeWalt Tools with Mike Hansen.
Mike having an excellent day, 400 points his first time out, on his way to 300 here as our leader comes down the front straightaway for the last time. And Mark Tate now has the Smokin' Joe's running the way it did in qualifying when he went right to the top of the ladder. He will earn 400 points for a first place finish in Heat 2B. Second place, 300 points for Mike Hansen in the DeWalt Tools. That gives him 700 on the day, tying him for first place with Miss Budweiser and the Pico American Dream. Mark Webber had been a lap down in the Miss Exide. Now he comes up to pass Mitch Evans, but the Mill Bay Casino, the piston-powered boat, will finish in 3rd place.
We've had 4 different preliminary sections of heat action. We've had 4 different winners, and here's the final results on the Fruit of the Loom scoreboard for Heat 2B.
As a big crowd enjoys the 90-degree temperatures and the Thunderboats, Nate Brown is with Mark Tate.
Mark, it looked like you couldn't get her shut off there right at the end.
Yeah, the both toggle switch were definitely pulled back, and it wouldn't shut off. Almost beached her.
How was the fin and all the stuff you guys wanted him to check on this time around?
I actually think the boat ride was better. I think the fin worked good, and you know, we were just out there trying to get our points and finish that heat.
Okanagan Lake, according to the charts, is as much as 225 feet deep, but some locals claim it's much deeper, perhaps bottomless in parts. And a sea creature similar to the Loch Ness Monster named Ogopogo resides here. We thought we'd ask around, what is Ogopogo?
Ogopogo. It is the monster that lurks in the deeps of this here lake. He's been here since the Indian days. He's legend. Nobody's actually caught him yet, but many have claimed to seen him. Probably 150 feet long, eats small children in a single bite.
Come on, how big is he really?
Pretty big.
Looked like it would probably be about 60 feet long.
I haven't seen the actual size, but I saw him pop up from the...
You probably don't get to see the whole monster because part of them's underwater.
Yeah, so it's a mystery to me.
Well, where can we find him?
Well, you gotta go out in the water. You guys are on land. He's not here. He's like way out there, so you gotta get in a boat and go down.
Well, we were not able to find the real Ogopogo, but according to the old-timers here in Kelowna, when we do, he will look something like this statue, a replica of the monster, here in City Park in downtown Kelowna. We'll be back in beautiful British Columbia right after this word.
Had a spectacular 1.5.
Welcome back to the Molson Thunderfest Jackhammer Liquid Oval. These are not Unlimiteds. They are 2/3 the size. And throughout the season, the Unlimited Lights have been touring with the Unlimiteds. This is their final heat.
That'll be Miss Personal Touch, Jackhammer, Red Dog, and Miss Seafirst Bank, along with Miss Leroy, Mama Rosa's Shockwave, Performance Mortgage, and Miss Graham Trucking.
Automotive Power roars down Lake Okanagan as the big field hits the starting line right on time. And that's the brand new Miss Seafirst Bank of Brian Reynolds, the Flyin' Hawaiian out of Olympia, Washington. He appeared to be moving into first place, but now it's Dennis Macy, Dennis the Menace, in the Jackhammer's Stay and Save, who takes an early lead on the back straightaway. Dave Bender in Miss Personal Touch running in third. And Macy flies the red boat out into the lead, and you can see the way the drivers fly the Unlimited Lights. The crowd on their feet now as they see great boat racing here in the Unlimited Light ranks. Macy with the early lead, but the Flyin' Hawaiian, Brian Reynolds, coming up. You can see his rooster tail on the outside as Dave Bender now moves up on the inside in Miss Personal Touch. A great boat race among our first three Unlimited Lights. Macy the leader at the end of lap one, running a shorter race course than the Unlimiteds did. And look at Dennis fly that boat down the front straightaway, well over 100 miles per hour with Automotive Power.
You know, Steve, there's a little bit of unlimited flavor here in the competition Cam's Unlimited Light lineup. In fact, it's Nate Brown who built the Seafirst boat, and we have Mark Webber, who's driving the X-Side 1 in the Unlimiteds, is running in the Red Dog.
Looking at our third place runner right now, that's Dave Bender in the Personal Touch. We expected Mark Webber and the Red Dog to challenge as they have all season. He has developed a problem and is not among the leaders. Randy Haas in the Miss Leroy is running fourth, and we're back to the leader now. Dennis Macy, with things going his way up the back straightaway. He continues to be challenged by Brian Reynolds in the Miss Seafirst, and there comes Brian on the outside. He's going to challenge for the lead now as they turn down to complete lap two. Still a great three-boat race as Dave Bender in the Personal Touch on the inside comes up to join the fray. And now Dennis the Menace may be giving up that lead as Brian Reynolds, the Flyin' Hawaiian, brings that brand new boat that Jim talked about, just completed by Nate Brown, working for us in the pits. And look at Brian fly down the front straightaway as he takes over the lead.
Now, to give you kind of an idea of the difference in speed, these are much smaller boats where you're getting 140 to 148 mile an hour average laps in the Unlimiteds. These guys are averaging about 95 mile an hour.
We said that's a brand new boat for Brian Reynolds. They had experienced some rudder problems throughout the weekend. Nate's been working on those with him. They appear now to have them sorted out, and here comes Dennis Macy one more time coming up on the inside. Great boat racing here on Lake Okanagan. They're up the back straightaway. Reynolds trying to hang on to that lead, but Macy will have the short way to go around the inside, and look at him fly that red boat. Macy runs very fast and loose.
There's the battle for third between Randy Haas and Miss Leroy, Dave Bender, and Miss Personal Touch. And here's the battle for first place as the Miss Seafirst Bank with Brian Reynolds and Dennis Macy and Jack Hammer's Stay and Safe battle side by side.
Off the exit pin for the last time, and look at the acceleration in the Miss Seafirst. Brian Reynolds on the left, just about a sponson advantage now over Dennis Macy, and he takes the checkered flag as Dennis the Menace gives him a wave, the winner of our Unlimited Lights final, Brian Reynolds, the Flyin' Hawaiian in Miss Seafirst Bank.
Our competition cams, Unlimited Lights Championship final results: Miss Seafirst, Jack Hammers, Miss Leroy, Personal Touch, Mama Rosa, Performance Mortgage, Miss Graham Trucking, and Red Dog did not finish.
Brian, a little emotional for me seeing that boat out there running, but you did a great job.
I think we put it through its paces that time, Nate. Man, we used everything we had to keep that thing on the water. There was rollers coming down the backstretch that I'd never seen before.
Well, you did a real great job and put a great show on for the fans.
Thanks a lot, Nate. It was a great place to race. We love being here in Kelowna.
Our top three qualifiers have all been drawn into Heat 3A. It'll be a preview, perhaps, of the final as Dave Villwalk looks a bit concerned. His team making final preparations aboard the Pico American Dream. We'll be right back. In all forms of motor racing, parts sometimes break, and it's difficult to find a place to get repairs made near the pit area. Ideally, you'd have a complete shop on wheels right in the pits, and that's been the situation this year for the Hydros. Nate Brown has more.
PECO's involvement in hydroplane racing doesn't stop at sponsorship. They've brought this 18-wheeler all the way here from Detroit, Michigan to help out all the race teams here this weekend. Inside this truck, you'll see lathes and mills and all kinds of machine tools here to fix virtually any machine part on our boats. The only thing this truck can't do is fiberglass work.
Oh, we have a doozy of a race coming up now here in 3A. All the leaders are up there. PECO American Dream, Dave Vilwalk, lane 1. Mark Evans in the Budweiser, lane 2. Jack Hammer, Steve David, lane 3. Smokin' Joe's with Mark Tate has the 4th slot. X-side 2 with Mike Jones as the pace boat on the outside.
This looks like a final heat. Our 3 fastest qualifiers are all in it. They're all on the inside. Mark Evans in Miss Budweiser likes the race course.
The scenery is beautiful, and the course layout is just great. If the wind stays down, we won't have choppy, lumpy water, and we'll have some good racing.
And that is Mark in the Budweiser, the second boat from your right. Inside him, Dave Vilwalk in the blue PECO American Dream. He should have control of this heat. We are racing. The green flag flies. You saw Mark Tate come up very quickly on the outside in the Smokin' Joe's, but he has a long way to go around there in lane 4. Steve David is between boats in the Jackhammer, and you see the advantage the inside boat has as they all turn left. It's Dave Vilwalk in the PECO American Dream, flying the boat up the back straightaway.
PECO American Dreams only lost 1 heat today, and that's the boat that's trying to catch him, the Miss Budweiser, as they go down the back chute.
You can't see the red boat. He's in the rooster tail. You'll see him now as they turn toward us, and there is Mark Evans continuing to challenge, sliding wide just a bit, and our leader down the front straightaway at the end of lap 1 will be Dave Vilwalk in the PECO American Dream, but Mark Evans is giving chase in the Miss Budweiser. We have a good race for 1st and 2nd place.
Budweiser flying a little bit as he gets loose there. Coming down to turn number 1, there's the battle for 3rd place.
2 great races on the water right now. This is the race for the lead. The blue boat is the PECO American Dream on the inside. To the right, you see Miss Budweiser. Now here comes 3rd and 4th. That is Steve David still holding off Mark Tate in the Smokin' Joe's. Vilwalk is halfway through the 3-lap heat as Mark Evans continues to give chase in Miss Budweiser.
So halfway through the heat 3A, it is the PECO American Dream. Our leader, 2nd place to Miss Budweiser. 3rd so far to the Jackhammer with Steve David. And 4th is the Smokin' Joe's with Mark Tate.
Coming down to complete lap 2, our leader, Dave Vilwalk, the PECO American Dream, flying across the top of the chop. We told you speeds around 185 to 190 miles per hour as Mark Evans in hot pursuit in Miss Budweiser. Steve David hanging on to 3rd place in the Jackhammer. The leader into the north turn for the final time from our Labatt's Eye in the Sky, and Mark Evans still right there in the Miss Budweiser. Now we'll come back to the 3rd and 4th place boats. That is Steve David on your left, Mark Tate giving chase in the Smokin' Joe's, still running 4th, and Mark is not used to being back that far in the rough water.
Come on, Steve.
Jim Harvey with a little encouragement for his driver, Steve David, hanging on to 3rd place.
Zodiac lap speed 129 mile an hour for the 3rd place Jackhammer, but on the outside at about 4 miles an hour faster, the Smokin' Joe's is coming on at 133.
Dave Vilwalk turns it left for the final time as Mark Evans is right there running in 2nd place in the Miss Budweiser. They are headed for the finish line. Meanwhile, look at the race back there for 3rd place. Steve David and Mark Tate are side by side as the checkered flag flies for Dave Vilwalk and the PECO American Dream. 2nd place will go to Mark Evans in the bright red Miss Budweiser, and Mark Tate will move up and take 3rd place in the Smokin' Joe's.
As our Fiddle Loom scoreboard shows and the cumulative points in the right column, PECO American Dream leads the field, Miss Budweiser 2nd, Smokin' Joe's, Jackhammer, and Miss X-Side 2.
And a nice comeback by Mark Tate in the Smokin' Joe's. That 3rd place finish should put him into the final. Earlier, Mark had a visit from a 2-wheeled racing counterpart.
Steve, this is a lot different than motorcycle riding. How do you compare it?
Well, it's definitely, I guess the only comparison in motorcycle racing is you turn left, but
just like dirt tracking, and that's where most people that go road racing start from. But there is no comparison to this hydroplane racing as opposed to motorsports. It's something different for me. It's really exciting, and I'm happy that Smokin' Joe's is here this weekend for it.
Dave Villwalk returns to the pit area with a big 400-point victory. Nate Brown is there.
Shake, rattle, and roll, Dave. That inside lane looks like it makes a big difference on this race course.
It does. Plus, we were going after that one. We knew we had to win that to get lane choice. So.
Little high on the sponsons. Is that the boat ride you want for the final now, or what?
Oh yeah, we're got to stay over the top of that stuff. Can't fall down in it.
The Thunderboats racing among the scenic wonder here surrounding Okanagan Lake in central British Columbia. One owner has memories of a win at the last hydro race here, and Jim is with him.
Lots of difference in 29 years, Bernie. Oh, wow, there sure is. When you look around this area and you see all the high-rises, the beautiful new hotels and everything, and then when you look at the Miss Budweiser behind me, when I won the last race here, I had a two-seated boat. I had Mike Thomas driving, and God rest his soul, he was a great guy. And we were running Rolls-Royce engines. Now we're running turbine engine, and there's a big, big difference. Of course, the big difference is in the speed. And I am now, when I won that, I think was my third victory, and I have now won 101 victories.
Mark Tate settled for third place in the Smokin' Joe's and has a word with our Nate Brown.
Mark, you're able to pull out a third place, but sure helping that points, but your boat ride looked, wow, pretty rough.
Yeah, the boat ride down the straightway is okay when I can get in clean water, but, we're running back there in third and fourth, and the two boats up front were really jockeying around. We're crossing their wakes a bunch of times and setting the boat off, but if I could get the boat to go through the corner, we would have a machine on our hands, and that's been our downfall all weekend.
Mike Hansen, once again, a good draw. He won't race any of the top three qualifiers in Heat 3B when we come back. Back on Okanagan Lake in central British Columbia, you see the crew of the DeWalt Tools boat as they are on the water for the running of Heat 3B. And Ken Muscatel now has repaired the right upright on his boat. It's still missing the skin, but now he's able to add the horizontal stabilizer once again. So the computers and applications should be a little bit better boat ride now for Ken Muscatel.
All right, let's check the starting lineup for Heat 3B, the final preliminary heat of the day. As we look at our boats jockeying up, it's going to be DeWalt Tools with Mike Hansen in lane 1. Chaplin Subaru Mazda, lane 2 with Scott Pierce. Millbay Casino, Mitch Evans, lane 3. Ken Muscatel and Computers and App, lane 4. Mark Webber on the outside with Miss Exide. This sets up Mike Hansen in pretty good position for the final.
We kind of hate to count our chickens for our eggs hatch, but yeah, we're having a good day. We've had some awfully good draws, and the first heat we lucked out when the Smokin' Joe couldn't start. So yeah, we're sitting pretty good.
Are you holding any magic stuff back?
Oh, actually, we haven't had to run the boat all out. We ran Smokin' Joe this last heat a couple of hard laps, and then we just let him go. But yeah, we're holding a little bit back.
Mike Hansen in the far right side of your picture in the yellow boat, the DeWalt Tools. He could get a challenge here from Scott Pierce in that brand new white Leland boat. It's a quick one. The Chaplin's Bellevue Mazda Subaru. Referee Mike Noonan looking down on the field says, let's go racing. The green flag flies in Heat 3B. A good start by Mark Webber way on the outside in the pace boat. From our eye in the sky, you see the advantage that Mike Hansen has. Running on the inside as he turns left with Scott Pierce right on his hip in the white boat, the Chaplin's Bellevue Mazda.
If this boat maintains first place, he'll have 400 points. That will tie him with the Pico America Dream in points at 1,100 going into the winner-take-all finale.
The race for fourth and fifth, piston power on the inside. That's Mitch Evans in the Millbay Casino, the X-side on the outside. As Mike Hansen turns for home at the end of lap 1, a terrific day for the DeWalt Tools team out of Madison, Indiana, leaders of Heat 3B. As the X-side now moves by Mitch Evans up into fourth place. You see just a bit of an advantage now for the rookie Mark Webber with turbine power going by Mitch Evans. Our Labatt eye in the sky shows us the field as they are into the north turn for the second time. Ken Muscatel in the white boat running third and swinging wide as the leaders are up the back straightaway. Our second place boat is Scott Pierce in the Chaplin's Bellevue Mazda. Third is Ken Muscatel in the computers and applications. The leader is Mike Hansen. Coming down to complete lap 2 in the DeWalt Tools, our leader in Heat 3B.
Our Zodiac lap speed, 138 mile an hour. As we look at Scotty Pierce riding in second place, and now to our third place boat, Ken Muscatel, minus the skin on the upright on the right side, but he is riding better than he has in previous heats.
We saw Mitch Evans continuing to challenge with his piston power, but Mark Webber a little too quick here in the turbine-powered Miss X side, moving up into 4th place. Mike Hansen's brother looking on from the DeWalt Tools pit area as his boat leads Heat 3B.
Looks like Scotty Pierce says, I'll make the finale sitting in second. They have a half a lap to go. Our third place boat is Ken Muscatel, and the water is starting to roughen up here on Okanagan Lake here in Kelowna, British Columbia.
Turning toward the checkered flag and another 400-point victory. Mike Hansen having his best day of the 1996 season in the DeWalt Tools, the winner of Heat 3B. A lot of happiness in the DeWalt camp. Most of those folks from Madison, Indiana, most of them owners of that boat.
Here is our Fruit of the Loom scoreboard. DeWalt Tools winner, Kaplan Subaru second, Computers and Applications third, Miss Exide fourth, Mill Bay Casino finished overall fifth. Now let's take a look at our total points on the day with only 100 points separating the top 3 boats. Pico and DeWalt are tied at 1,100. Only 6 boats plus a trailer make the finale. And the trailer boat is picked from the consolation heat. Now let's go down to the docks.
Mike, that looked good, but, you know, you're in second lane pick now. Given the track conditions, what's going to be your strategy out there?
Well, you know, Dave, it's hard telling what Dave's going to do. In the past, he's opted to go for 2, so if he does that, I might have to sneak in there and get lane 1. We ran lane 1 hard intentionally that time, thinking that might be the case, so we'll have to see. The only bad part about all this, Nate, is coming back in, seeing the look of envy on your face. I feel for you, bud.
And Nate Brown would like to be racing today, but he's working for us. 1 spot still open in the final heat. Who will it be? We'll see when we come back. Back in beautiful British Columbia, breezy, beautiful British Columbia. The winds that slowed speeds down in our Friday qualifying session threatening to kick back up now. The lake a bit rougher as the 4-boat field is set to come onto the water for the consolation. The winner will go to the final.
And they'll go to the final, Steve, as a trailer, having to start 15 seconds back of the front row of 6. Boy, look at the waves coming in up over that dock. That wind is starting. They're going to wave them off. They're going to call them in. And it's no wonder 25 knots is the velocity of the wind, gusting to 40, sometimes 50. Look at the water churning up. The boats could not race in this. They would be up on their back because the winds would lift them. Plus, it creates a very, very hazardous course in rollers with these boats going as fast as they're going. Now let's go to Nate Brown. He's in the middle of it all.
You can imagine what it would be like taking a race boat at 200 miles an hour over top of these waves. It's unbelievable out here. The water's breaking over the bow of a 25-foot rescue boat, doing about 3 knots. And at 200 miles an hour, you'd stuff the race boats out here right now. So there's absolutely no way we're going to be able to run in this stuff.
To say the wind came up would be a bit of an understatement. Now the question is, what do we do if we can't get the final heat in?
We punt. No, we're going to get the final heat in. You know, like I said it in Detroit, I'll say it again. Carmen was announced, Carmen will be sung. We came here to boat race, we're going to boat race. Now, you can tell me what if we don't get it in tonight. I'm confident we will. If we don't, we address a couple of ways to handle this. We can declare this race official. 3/4 of it in the record book already. The record book will support that. I mean, our rule book. At the same time, we'd like to put on a show for these people. I don't want to sound like a brownie, but boy, golly, this has been something. I think we all said that over and over. And my racers are over signing autographs for the crowd right now. They were so excited. They said when the weather went bad, they said, let's do anything we can to make this whole thing fly together.
And some of the fans here are taking advantage of the availability of the drivers, getting to meet them. And all of these kids, well, they're quite a thrill. Others, of course, are patiently waiting, as we are, for the wind to subside. We'll be back with the conclusion of this event, one way or the other, in a moment.
Today's unlimited hydroplane coverage of the Molson Thunderfest Jackhammer Liquid Oval for the Canadian Cup has been sponsored by Las Vegas, open 24 hours. And by Ralph's, where you'll find low prices and double coupons every day. Well, as you can see, the winds are not subsiding. The Unlimited Racing officials have wisely decided this event is over. We will not be able to run the final heat. It means a 7th victory in 1996 for Dave Vilwalk and the Pico American Dream. Nate Brown caught up with the winner.
Dave, I know you'd rather be out there racing to get this victory, but it's a victory nonetheless.
Yeah, it is, but, you know, we'd sure like to run that last heat. It's just that the weather just isn't going to cooperate. God, it's just unbelievable how many thousands and thousands of great Canadian fans that came out to watch some races. You know, as luck would have it, though, at least that Heat 3A was, you know, the top dogs out there having at it. So at least we had sort of a final before the final, and we put on a great show anyway, you know. Just happy to be here, happy to have a good day.
Our Fruit of the Loom scoreboard final points. See the Pico and DeWalt tied with 1,100 by virtue of a better average speed in winning their heats. Pico has declared the winner, his 6th victory for Dave Vilwalk out of 8 races. That's our final order of finish. And Nate Brown is down with the runner-up.
Mike, you and Dave were tied for points going into that final. Explain how it worked out.
Well, you know, Dave had a quicker elapsed time throughout the 3 heats earlier today that he ran versus the 3 heats that I ran. So he ended up winning the race based on elapsed time for the day.
It's too bad that we weren't able to go out there and run, but it sure is nice here to be in Kelowna, eh?
Yeah, this is a great place to come race. It really is. It's just a shame that the wind came up. The fans were really anticipating a great final. I think everybody would have gave it to them.
Now checking the Budweiser O'Doul High Point Championship standings through the first 8 races. Pico America Dream with an over 2,000-point lead over 2nd place Smokin' Joe's. Miss Budweiser is in 3rd, but only 93 points out of 2nd. Followed by the DeWalt Jules and the Jackhammer. Those are your 5 top point getters.
So, for the first time in a long time, we are not able to run our final heat. The day ends on a bit of an anti-climax as Dave Vilwalk steps up to receive the first ever Canadian Cup. San Diego, the next stop for the Thunderbolts down the west coast. It'll be a dandy one on the quick 2.5-mile oval on Mission Bay. Check your local listings and join us for that one. This has been a production of Diamond P Sports in association with ESPN.